Thank you everyone for joining us this evening as we review the highlights of the draft business plan for fiscal year 2026-27 and 2027-28. This plan will guide our operating approach, performance goals, safety initiatives, service enhancements, and funding priorities for the next 2 years. With us today, you have Charles Franz, our Manager of Transportation, Camille Tsao, our Manager of Strategic and Long Range Planning, Kai Moser, who is our chat moderator. He is our Climate Corps Fellow, and myself, Sabrina Dueñas. I'm the Senior Marketing Rep who will be also moderating this presentation. I also see that we have our CCJPA Board Director Foley with us this evening. Thank you so much for joining. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So just some housekeeping for tonight's workshop. All participants' cameras will be turned off and be muted as well. There is a Q&A feature to submit questions and comments, and we will address these either during the presentation or there's a section after as well. For all questions that are not addressed during this presentation, we will make sure to record them and answer them before the draft is submitted to the board in April. This workshop is also being recorded and will be available online after the virtual workshop is over. So the business plan process, yesterday, February 9th, we posted the draft plan for public review on our website, capitalcorridor.org. Tonight, today, and for the next 2 days, we're going to have public workshops. This is the only virtual workshop that we have. The other 5 will be held on board our train. February 28th, which is a Saturday, will be the deadline to submit all public comments regarding the draft annual business plan. And after that, the final draft will be presented to the CCJPA board for adoption at the CCJPA meeting on April 15th. Once again, the final draft will include all public comments and CCJPA responses. And with that, I'm going to give it to Charles, who will present the business plan highlights.
Great. Thank you, Sabrina. Thanks everyone for joining. We really appreciate the public's interest and input, and we value that greatly. And that's the point of these annual business plan reviews and drafts. So as we go through the presentation, the highlights that we're going to make from this presentation are our performance standards, an overall operating plan for FY26, what we're doing for safety and security in the corridor. We're going to look at rolling stock updates and what we're doing to locomotives and cars. We'll cover service enhancements for the onboard experience along with service amenities. We'll touch on marketing and communications and public outreach, and then go over what the funding request will be. Next slide, please. So going over our FY25 ridership has been a slow but steady increase from the pandemic in fiscal year 20, where we saw the large drop off, and we are happily above the 100,000 mark for each month. Those bars represent ridership in thousands by month. And so strong growth, especially in the later half of fiscal year 2025, and we hope to continue that into fiscal year 26. Next slide. So our performance goals for fiscal year 26 are a ridership goal of 1.2 million riders, revenue of 30.8 million, our fare box recovery ratio, which is the amount of our operating expenses which are covered by fares. That goal is 50%. And our on-time performance, there's actually 2 different versions of that. There's passenger on-time performance, which is did the passenger get to their ticketed destination within a certain amount of time, and endpoint on-time performance, where, did the train get to its endpoint on time within a certain tolerance. And that goal is set at 90% for both those metrics. Oh, and sorry, 88% customer satisfaction, which is customers that rank our service good or better. Next slide, please. So our forecasted ridership by fiscal year 2025 was presented just a couple slides ago. And we are showing the first few months here of fiscal year 26. Every year around this time, we get a decrease in ridership, and projecting that probably to continue just a little bit through February, but continue to build through fiscal year 26 and another dip in 27, but a steady increase with an overall growth factor. Next slide. So our operating plan and schedule evaluation, this is a very fluid process. A lot goes into developing our service plan. There's a lot of different stakeholders that get involved between Union Pacific Railroad, which is the railroad we operate on, along with Caltrain in the South Bay. So there's a lot involved with this, connections as well, BART connections certainly. And of course, rider feedback goes into how we deploy our service schedule. We were happy to return to a scheduled 30 weekday round trips between Sacramento and Oakland as of December 8th. That includes 22 weekend trains, which was not an increase, but the 30 was an increase from 28. Continued 14 daily trips to Oakland and San Jose, and 2 daily trains to Sacramento and Auburn. In the fall of 2026, we are hoping to deploy a little bit better of a schedule optimizing westbound commutes in order to get to that 30 weekday trips. Given the number of cars and locomotives we had, we needed to shuffle a few of those westbound commute options just to keep up with turns, but we hope to have more equipment by then, and we hope to improve the westbound options from Sacramento in fall of 2026. Likely no changes between Oakland and San Jose. There's been some feedback on we're running later eastbound departures from San Jose. That's had sort of mixed reviews so far, so we're going to see how that goes. And we may pull that evening departure, that eastbound departure from San Jose in a little bit, but possibly not. No changes for the Sacramento Auburn service. And then fiscal year 2027, once we're able to deploy some engineering work in the South Bay, we're hoping to get buy-in from Union Pacific to deploy more consistent headways. We acknowledge that South Bay service is a little sporadic, and unfortunately that's because we have to work around complications in delivering that service, and it's all single track. So we're hoping to be able to provide a little bit more fluid service once those projects are done in 2027. Next slide, please. So I said we increased to 30 round trips, or 30 trips rather, and we did, but of course, everything comes with deployment challenges. We've had recent significant challenges in delivering service and keeping up with service, which doesn't have so much to do with the number of trips as it has to do with reduced locomotive availability. We do share our fleet with the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority, which operates the Gold Runner trains. And when we made the December schedule change, you have so many locomotives and cars that you need to run your service. That didn't change for us between November and December. What did happen, or what did change rather, is the Gold Runner service implemented another one of their round trips, which brought them back to full service, but that required an additional locomotive. And our fleet is aging. The locomotives are pretty well past their overhaul date. The equipment is owned by the state of California, and they are responsible for equipment overhauls. And so we're working through those challenges. We've recently changed mechanical contractors, and they are having to get ahead of a lot of these issues. And so the service cancellations were primarily to stave off unplanned cancellations. We know that's extremely disruptive. So we went ahead and made the difficult decision to annul or cancel a number of trips in September, as well as January, February, to get ahead of locomotive constraints and reliability. Next slide, please. So what we're doing to improve the situation, we are working on a truck overhaul, which is the suspension of the rail cars. That will improve rail car availability and reliability. We've secured a lease with Caltrain to lease some of their locomotives and rail cars to bolster our equipment availability and help with reliability and get away from some of these cancellations. We're also working with the state of California to advance an overhaul for some of our aging F-59 type locomotives. And we're also in discussions with the state to modernize our existing equipment as well as procure new equipment. Next slide. So pivoting to safety and security, right-of-way safety improvement program was awarded $20 million in CRISI funds, which will go to barriers and fencing along the right-of-way. That's going to help, especially in the South Bay corridor between Oakland and San Jose, but also Richmond and farther north. We also partner with Union Pacific to have our own dedicated Union Pacific Police security agents in our corridor, which helps with right-of-way cleanup, enforcement, vehicle removal, things like that. So we have a new agent coming on board that will help a lot. We do grade crossing analysis and engage with local stakeholders along the corridor to reduce vehicle incidents and vehicle dumping. We also have an outreach program with California Operation Lifesaver, which is a organization dedicated to reducing trespasser incidents and vehicle incidents. Also continuing our station and right-of-way cleanup and local law enforcement coordination with partners along our whole right-of-way. Next slide. So for service reliability, and some of these go into the transportation and service delivery metrics I was discussing earlier and what some of our goals are there. The Stige crossover and signal replacement is finished. That was done. Stige is in Richmond, and it's to improve on-time performance in that area between Richmond and Emeryville. The Agnew siding is going to help with South Bay fluidity. Construction is expected to start in 2026. And so when that's complete, we should be able to offer, like I said, more seamless service in the South Bay. The Davis crossover platform and signal replacement construction is expected to begin in 2026. That will also improve on-time performance through Davis, as well as improve ADA access for passengers and make that platform more accessible. Next slide. Tap to Ride is a new fare. Well, I shouldn't say new, but it's an exciting fare program for us that we are expanding. Open loop payment is a hot topic in the Bay Area, as it should be, and it's improving mobility and seamless travel between agencies and in regions. And this is our version of it. It is a discounted method of paying for your fare. There are fare caps so you don't overpay. You get one free ride for every 4 trips you pay, as well as just overall discounts on the fares offered. It's a really good program for students, seniors. I mean, it's a good program for anybody. It's cheaper than a regular ticket. So we are starting to expand the program. The way you use it is by, as long as you have a contactless payment card. You do have to register in advance. So that is the one big difference between us and the other operators. But once that card is registered, you can use it to tap on and tap off to pay your fare. And that fare is based on the distance that you traveled. So the pilot was launched in 2023. We continue to expand it, and we're going to hope to make a big push spring of 2026 to expand our Tap to Ride ridership. Next slide. So we did implement a comprehensive fare study earlier in last year, and implemented targeted fare adjustments in April of last year, reducing fares primarily for short distance trips, and a modest increase to some multi-ride fares. It did have a significant increase on our ridership, especially in short haul trips, and we're seeing a lot more utilization between corridors and connecting BART to Solano and Contra Costa County. So that was a positive outcome to that. For 2026, we do expect a minor fare increase. Once we get a little back on our feet with equipment and service delivery, we expect to wait until we're happy with the product we're able to deliver. But to keep up with inflation and rising costs across the board, we do expect a minor increase in fares across the board in 2026. We do want to continue to grow, to lean on Tap to Ride, which offers competitive fares, and of course use the data available to us to inform any future fare and policy decisions that we make. Next slide. So I'll hand it over to Camille. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Camille Tsao, and I'm going to share with you some things that we're working on as far as plans and projects. So to start, we are developing a strategic plan, which is really more of an internal document, but helps us with our organizational objectives and the specific goals like financial health. And we're also going to be working on a vision plan, which we had developed and our board adopted 10 years ago. So it's time for a refresh. And what the vision plan does, it establishes some near and long-term service goals for which, our capital projects support those service goals. So we're going to be working with our board to figure out, what some of our priorities should be and what the policies should be to support those. This vision plan is going to help us not just with capital improvement planning, but it's going to inform the work that we do with the state and the Federal Railroad Administration as we start the corridor identification and development process that will begin in earnest later this year. Next. So some of the projects that we've been working on for a while include these three on the screen. One of them is the Sacramento to Roseville third track, phase 1. And this project will allow us to increase service between Sacramento to Roseville from 1 to 3 round trips daily. That's the first phase. And also we have South Bay Connect down south of Oakland, between Oakland and San Jose. And that entails rerouting our service so that we can separate freight and passenger traffic and gain some travel time savings for our passengers of about 10 minutes. It basically, improves operational reliability, and it also includes some new Transbay bus and shuttle connections to the peninsula via a new station at Ardenwood. And then third is the Link 21 program, which we are now leading with the state and participating in the federal Corridor ID program. And this is a program to basically construct a second Transbay crossing, basically in the same corridor as the current BART tube between Oakland and San Francisco. And as a standard gauge crossing, this will allow direct service into San Francisco for our trains and possibly others, as well as supporting other projects in the mega region. So again, this is part of the Corridor ID program. So any further planning that we do for Link 21 in the coming years is going to be part of a more corridor-wide planning effort. Next, please. In addition to those service enhancements, service expansion projects, we are also continuing to plan for service amenities, which are more short-term improvements that can be realized in a shorter time frame and benefit the customer experience. So one of those is the California Passenger Information Display System, otherwise known as CalPIDS. And this basically, allows us to provide real-time train status to our customers, as well as to third-party trip planning apps. We've also been working on improving our Wi-Fi to make it more stable and just more, reliable so that folks on our trains can use that, whether for work or for entertainment. We'll continue to add seasonal specials for our food service, as well as some new items. There may be some incremental price increases, but we will continue some other events like our Cappy Hour, which occurs quarterly. And it's basically a thank you to our customers for riding with us. We offer some discounts on drinks and some snacks during those Cappy Hour trains that are during peak times. And then finally, we have some Americans with Disabilities Act accessibility improvements occurring at multiple stations. We've already completed them at Fremont, Hayward, Oakland Coliseum, and Martinez stations. And we're planning more of those types of improvements at the Emeryville, Richmond, Sassoon, Fairfield, Davis, and Rockland stations. And essentially, this type of work will improve safety and accessibility for all of our passengers. So with that, I'll hand it to Sabrina.
We actually have a question come in that's related to the slide. So the question is, what work is planned for the onboard information system? So the CalPIDS modernization system.
You know the answer to that, Charles?
I couldn't hear the question. I'm not sure if it's an issue with my internet, or could you repeat it?
What work is planned for the onboard information system?
I'm not sure. I would have to check with Stuart. That's a great question. You mean?
I think the question is, like what enhancements can we see for the CalPIDS project?
Yeah, I mean, there are a number of projects that we're going to have in the works in FY26 and 27 regarding customer service. We are looking into developing an app. Nothing is traditionally on board. There's no, plans for a public information system on board the train, but we are looking at leveraging technologies for either an app or other customer sort of information-based methods of distributing information and interaction with our passengers, but nothing traditionally on board.
All right, and now I'll go over to marketing. All right, so for marketing, a few updates on this side of things. So the first thing we want to focus on is advertising, brand awareness, and partnerships. So we want to drive ridership growth and brand visibility through data-driven marketing and really expand the Only by Train campaign that we started with our new advertising firm in the last fiscal year. And we want to continue to target messaging that highlights the amenities of our train and also comfort, convenience, and the value of the diverse, essential, and leisure value for the diverse, essential, and leisure travelers. So really making sure that, again, we're highlighting our onboard Wi-Fi, our cafe car service, and other things that make Capital Corridor what it is. We also want to expand partnerships and reintroduce group travel and community outreach to grow off-peak and event-driven ridership, like we just did about 3 days ago with the Super Bowl. We want to support a brand analysis and assessment and ongoing evaluation of performance to refine these strategies. We also want to enhance the customer experience with communication. We want to strengthen the digital and communication platforms that we have with a redesigned and more full website, which is very exciting. We also want to have improved real-time passenger information, which Camille just discussed with our CalPIDS and related systems, and just have clear communication during disruptions and major events as well. And then lastly, we want to increase adoption of Tap to Ride and communicate fare value by emphasizing discounts, unreserved ticketing, flexibility, and the benefits of the contactless payment system. So again, we are toward the end of our presentation. Just as a reminder, here are the few ways that you can submit a comment. The first way is to submit a comment during the question and answer session, which is on the next slide, the next part of this presentation. You can do so then. You can also do it at an onboard workshop. We have a number of them, again, tomorrow and Thursday. You can submit a comment online. We have a comment form that I believe will be included in the chat as well if you want to take your time to review the draft and then submit a comment afterward. You can submit it by mail, and you can see our address here, or you can submit it via voicemail at this number, and there's a prompt for you to submit it through that. Once again, the submission deadline is on February 28th, 2026. So now we are in the question and answer portion. So you can, again, feel free to submit your question in the Q&A chat box, and we will answer any that come in. All right. So the first one is, are there plans to increase the frequency of Thruway bus routes?
The short answer to that is not at this time. We are, of course, open to hearing feedback. We base a lot of our decisions on customer feedback along with ridership data. We are taking a hard look at all of our Thruway bus routes right now, including a number of bus routes that we operate in partnership with other agencies. So, like I said, the short answer to your question is no, there are no plans to increase the frequency. But if there's anything specific that you're looking for, we are open to that. We are also considering not necessarily increasing frequency, but shifting the drop-off location and pickup location for the San Francisco bus connection to inside the Salesforce Transit Center. That is something we're looking at taking a pass at this year, but not necessarily increasing frequency of bus routes. If that doesn't answer your question, feel free to follow it up. Thank you.
How resilient is current service level to multi-year state budget deficits?
That is a really good question. We have not started yet a earnest effort at fleshing out what we would need to do for service cuts if it came to that. There's a lot of stuff in the news, of course, with other agencies and what's needed to fill the gap there. I don't want to speak out of turn. So in terms of current service levels, my answer would be that we have not played that scenario out yet because if and when it does come, it is separate from what a lot of the current transit financial issues are around the Bay. So I don't want to speak out of turn and answer that incorrectly, but my answer is fairly resilient, but we would need to put pen to paper to come up with a proper plan. Thank you, Fred. It's a good question.
All right. And the next one is, what strategies or methods are available to accelerate the timeline for Link US?
I think it means Link 21.
Link 21, yeah.
Well, I'll just say that Link 21 is a very complicated project. And if I could wave a magic wand, we would own the right of way that we operate on, and that would certainly help a little bit, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So we do have to work with a lot of different parties, including the Union Pacific, which owns most of the right of way that we run on, as well as the cities that we are going to be planning new infrastructure through, as well as funding partners, the state, the Federal Railroad Administration, and others. So I wish I could say there was a single thing that we could do, but it's complex. And, for the immediate time being, we just need to do a little bit more planning, more service planning. We were only able to do a limited amount before. So we need to do a little more service planning in partnership with some of the other operators in the state through the Corridor ID program that I mentioned. So we just need a little more time because it is complex.
And the next one is, the December schedule update seems to have regressed in terms of clock face scheduling. Does CCJPA expect to get back to clock face schedules in future schedules?
One of my favorite questions, kind of. For those who don't know, clock face scheduling is also referred to as pulse scheduling, where you could expect a train to leave on the hour, on the half hour, every 15 minutes, something to that extent. They've mastered that in Europe, where the government controls all the railroads, and the public good is the public good. We made a big effort to get on clock face scheduling some time ago at CCJPA. That is still what we aim for. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but we operate within really, really constrained environments where when we deploy a schedule, and you're absolutely right, the December schedule is a regression from clock face scheduling. No one's here to say that it isn't. But we have been wanting to make a strong improvement to service delivery in terms of number of options for riders. And there is a clear correlation between number of departures and ridership. And there's also been shifts in ridership as well, where the traditional commute 9 to 5 rider is certainly still there, but we're seeing a lot more midday, later departures, and weekend departures. So we're trying to balance this act of not having not having enough equipment necessarily to run the schedule we would like to run. And then we also have to compete. No, I don't want to say compete, but we have to work within constraints of the ACE train, which serves San Jose and Stockton, the Gold Runner train, which runs from Oakland down to Bakersfield, and all the Amtrak long distance, and then Union Pacific Railroad has to approve all those schedules as well. Given their capital improvement program, single tracking areas, maintenance. So all that to be said is it's something we're hoping to return to, but absolutely acknowledge your assertion that we fell down on that for the December schedule. But the flip side to that is we were able to offer an additional round trip, which we hope will work for more people. If I didn't answer your question or you have a follow-up, don't hesitate to ask. Thanks.
All right. Well, right now we have no questions in the queue. As we wait for any last minute questions that may come in, I'll go ahead and share the different ways that you all can stay connected with us. So number one, social media at Capital Corridor. This is our handle. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. You can also sign up for service alerts and CC Rail Mail at capitalcorridor.org/news-alerts. We have a weekend and weekday service alert list where any changes that happen to our service, you will be alerted. You can even sign up for text message alerts as well. CC Rail Mail is our monthly newsletter that we send out. Different kinds of communications, our message to riders from our managing director, Rob Padgett. We also send out, funny events that happen along the corridor and other things that are going on with the route. You can also check out our website, capitalcorridor.org as well, and stay tuned for our redesigned website that'll happen later this year. And in the meantime, we have another question. What are other significant engagement opportunities throughout the year?
I think that one's probably for you.
That's a great question.
My answer to that would be, and Sabrina, obviously, feel free to chime in. My answer to that would be, keep an eye out for Cappy Hours. That's a really good opportunity to engage with us directly. You're welcome to attend board meetings. We have them in Oakland and as well as Solano County.
We actually have Cappy Hour on the trains today through Thursday. Other ways you can stay engaged. Again, I strongly urge you to sign up for our CC Rail Mail and check on our website. We do participate in Bike Month events. We usually do events around our stations for Bike Month, which is in May. We always share events that go on our social media. So definitely recommend that you follow us so you can always hear of the next engagement opportunity. We also always share when we have tabling at our stations. But again, I would say to echo Charles, our Cappy Hours, which again are quarterly, attend our board meetings and just stay in the know by signing up. And then for those who cannot attend the Alviso planning meeting on Thursday, February 12th, will the materials be posted online or via a Zoom meeting like this?
Yeah, I'm not sure if a Zoom meeting is planned, but it's highly likely that materials will be available. So we're happy to follow up. Yeah, I know you posted as anonymous, but you contact one of us, we can make sure that we give you the information that you need.
Yep. Any other questions from the folks on this call? If not, once again, Kai has linked the comment form in the chat. So if you want to take some time to think about a comment or a couple of comments that you want to submit for the draft, feel free to do so via the form. And we will definitely make sure to address comments again in the draft that is presented to the board in April. So we will make sure to do that. Okay, well, with that, thank you so much, everyone, for attending this virtual workshop. Thank you for listening to our update. We're very happy to have you, and we all hope that you have a great night. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.